What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Double Coverage. We're hoping you're still living, loving, and breathing sport. I'm your boy Dom with the great man Saucey. We're back at it again. What's happening, mate?
We're back, Domma, with another pod and massive stuff happening in the world of sport. Obviously, the NBA playoffs still kicking along strongly. You had the massive card in the UFC. You got the AFL on the verge of finals. Those teams secured up those top 4 and top 8 spots. We got some F1 action coming up this week, Dom.
This week, yes, a brief preview of that. We had week 2 of the NFL. We had some saucy specials in the betting front in the NFL. Up and
4
about.
and 4 this week, baby. 4 and 4. I've redeemed myself. I've redeemed myself after last week.
You went with your gut this week.
That's right, Domma.
You went with it. You didn't listen to any of the pundits out there. You said, I'm going to be the pundit. I'm going with my gut. And you went bang.
Live and die by the sword, mate. Live and die by the sword. I said I was annoyed last week because, I got too much into it. I listened to a couple of betting podcasts from a couple of blokes out in Vegas, in the US. And let me tell you, I should not have done that because,
you could have had a perfect record.
I know, because what I actually wanted to take ended up winning week 1. So I said, stuff that. I'm not listening to no one's podcast. I'm doing my own research. And the results
Source is like, listen to this podcast and we'll help you win. That's what he's done. And then we've got some EPL news. Hobby Talks back this week. We've got some stuff to cover in there. And then, of course, the most anticipated segment, Sauceys Smokey. Another great one coming up today. Very nice card. So let's get straight into it, I guess, mate. NBA playoffs. You know we like to start with this. We're right in the thick of it at the moment. So we'll start off. We'll start with that Miami series. Let's go on to game 4. We'll start with game 2. Let's be honest. First 2 games, it looked more like Boston's. Well, they had the win really, and Miami just snatched 2 wins out of nowhere. The resilience in their comebacks from 13-point deficits and 15-point deficits, just the way they come back into games is just unbelievable. So defense is great, and like we did say last week, and even me as like a Miami man, I said I couldn't care less anymore if we're down by 15 points. I actually don't panic because all it takes is a couple of guys to get hot.
I said that to you, Domma, like with your shooting, you're always within games. I mean, obviously, Spoelstra and the group would prefer not to be, having 100%. To catch up 15-point leads. And I think even Jimmy Butler mentioned that, I'm sick of coming from behind. It's something that you're going to need to fix in this next game because as you've seen, Hayward back throws another spanner into the works for the Miami defense. And Boston looked good. They played that small ball lineup where they played Jaylen Brown at 5. And they move around, they zip around, and they made it really, really difficult for you guys. They dominated you points in the paint, which is something different that they weren't able to do in game 1 and 2. And they got the victory. So, but like I said, Domma, I think this is anyone's series, so it'll be interesting to see what adjustments Spoelstra has planned for you guys, especially for that small ball lineup, because definitely showed in that third game, it gave you a lot of trouble.
Definitely it is what we said. It was literally going to be Spoelstra versus Stevens in this series on top of, obviously, the 2 teams going at each other. But game 2 ended quite, I don't know, just shockingly for Boston, and Marcus Smart lost his marbles at Jaylen Brown in the locker room, and obviously, they came out and played differently and with some more fight. And we did discuss it could go either way. It could either go that they implode or they band together. And really, it's just a kick up the arse and really need to get into gear. Because not for anything, you're already in the corner. If they lost game 3, they're on the ropes. Literally.
Yeah. You're right.
That's
you're already taking blows. You're taking blows in that corner. You're covering up. But, credit to Boston because they came out game 3 from the outset and they showed so much urgency and they showed that they wanted to win that game. Like, you could see it was different from the start. And then it was just around in the second half where Miami's been able to claw back some of those leads. They were
We
more
got it.
clinical.
We got it back
They were
to
more
like.
clinical.
We got it back to 6. Miami's second half was very, very good. We started to slow them down a bit, but this is the thing that was funny. We're down by 18. We cut it to like 6. Then obviously free throws, a couple of missed shots at the end, get it to 11. That was the final margin. But the interesting thing is the way a lot of people perceive in this series. Like we said, it could go to anyone. I'm first to admit that the first 2 games, Boston played really well, but Miami adjusted and they stole the 2 games. If we're gonna go based on that factor, Miami actually played really bad in Game 3, and Boston took advantage of it because Miami's not giving up 50 points in the paint again, and they lost by 11. Miami
50?
missed.
You're letting them off easy, mate. They scored 60.
Yeah, I know.
That's how
50.
terrible you were at protecting the ring in that game.
There you
That's
go.
how terrible
We
you were
gave
at protecting the ring.
60 in the paint, and Miami missed 15 threes in a row.
At one point in the game, that's right.
That's when they got out to a 20-point lead.
I mean,
so Miami,
Domma, what
I'm
have I been saying since the start? And I'll get on any team. You cannot be shooting below 30% from 3 in an NBA game these days and expect to win. I mean, Boston didn't come out in Game 3 and shoot lights out from 3. They only shot 34.6%. But compare that to yours, 27%.
Yeah. But the 60 points in the paint that was let up that was the difference. That
was the difference.
They slaughtered Miami.
Where was Bam this game? He wasn't blocking anyone.
The problem is the one thing that is starting to become pretty noticeable when they play the small ball lineup. I think it's a great move by Stevens. Is when Bam's not on the court, Kelly Olynyk's the only person that can defend that position. And they really just abuse the paint when Bam's not there. Because the height from Miami, they struggle to like defend a Brown and a Kemba Walker and obviously Jason Tatum, who's literally playing like he's unstoppable at the moment. So it becomes tough. But other guys like Williams and Wanamaker, those guys have stepped up, as we mentioned last week. But like you said, it's a toss-up. Looking forward to tomorrow's game in Game 4. It's going to be a good one. You would have thought if Miami can win it tomorrow, the series could pretty much be wrapped up. But based on what we've seen in these playoffs, mate, anyone can win from 3-1 down. But, yeah, tomorrow's game's massive.
Not for anything. You have a look at the stat sheet in that Game 3, and you look at Gordon Hayward coming off the bench. Now, I mean, the guy only scored 6 points. But the other stuff that he gave you, he
was assisting a fair bit, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, giving you 4 assists, 3 steals, which is and a block, 3 steals. Yeah. So there you go. That's an extra 3 positions for your team. I mean, they're the intangibles that they were missing, and we said they had no bench depth. So the fact that they're able to bring Hayward off the bench now.
Well, this is what we said last week. You rather start Marcus Smart than have him come off the bench because you automatically get an offensive threat in Hayward off the bench than Smart. Like, wouldn't you rather start? Like, Smart's a way better defensive player than Hayward. That's like, there's not even a discussion to be had there. So why wouldn't you want to start the game with an elite defender on the court in your starting 5? Get some stops early. So when that second unit comes in, the offense there comes much easier. There's not as much pressure, and they feel more comfortable coming on with the Hayward. Like,
yeah, that's right. You've got that really a starter coming off the bench essentially. And, Marcus Smart is a much improved 3-point shooter.
Yeah, he is.
The facts are there, right?
Like
his statistics
it's not like a couple
have
seasons
increased,
ago.
right? Now, if you're playing with that first group, you're getting much more wide open looks because they're offensive threats as well. And they're going to leave Marcus Smart open because he's the lesser of the threat in a sense. That's the way that they would be writing up their defensive schemes to
100%.
leave Marcus Smart open, right? Because you can't stop everything in basketball, right? You got to give up something. But that's the lesser of two evils, essentially. But for Marcus Smart, that's good because he's wide open and he's hitting down threes. So
if he gets more time to set his feet, it's better for him. So, and the other thing that is working really well for Boston at the moment is the way that Enes Kanter has been introduced in this series now. I don't know why he gets slept on so much. Like, Enes Kanter, he's a decent player, like, to come off the bench. He doesn't get used as much.
Yeah, look,
But
always the
he's
knock's been
playing
on
really
him
well.
is his defense. But, if he
He's a
comes off the
beast on
bench,
the offensive boards.
yeah, he crashes the boards a lot. And in a series of like this, being able to get extra possessions potentially,
Correct.
get a couple of offensive boards and putbacks, all those little things, they count. Look, it's going to be a good game tomorrow. I'm interested to see what's going to happen. One thing I will say, I'm looking for Jimmy Buckets to impose his will in the game a bit earlier. He's been leaving his runs too late. I mean, it worked out for him game 1 and 2, where he imposed himself in the fourth. But he needs to impose himself in that first half to keep his team in it and not allow Boston to run away with a 15-point lead like they've been able to do nearly in every game.
He shot 40. Was it last series? Yeah, it was last series when he shot 40, and then he had that game where he shot 30. He was going to the line 14 times, 15 times. Like, he was aggressive. And you've got to know he's a strong guy. Like, they're going to foul him. So, I'm with you. He's got to impose his will early. Even if he just gets to the line, he doesn't have to settle for jump shots. Just be aggressive. He's doing too much of driving to the ring. And I think, oh, yeah, he's going to put this up for a layup. And he just kicks it out every single time. Go up. Get hit. Take the contact. Like, we'll see what happens there. The other thing in game 3, let's be honest, we were poor and we let them in the game and they dominated us. But if it wasn't for your boy Tyler Hero shooting 18 and keeping us in it with some massive threes, catching, like, just literally dribbling up the court and just shooting the ball, like pulling up, we would have been blown away completely. So I think it's just proving that he's just progressing leaps and bounds, and he's just going to become even better and better. And like you said, I reckon a great comp is Stephen Curry for like the attributes in his game that he has and his skills. Obviously, he's not.
Yeah, look, I'm not calling him Stephen Curry.
Yeah,
right?
we said this before. He's the guy that put the ball on the ground off the dribble and layups. And
he's multifaceted. People
shots.
thought he was just a catch and shoot guy coming into league. If you still think that now after watching a whole season of this guy and watching him in the playoffs, I think multiple games, he's had over 5 assists.
He almost had a triple-double in game 2.
That's right. You don't know basketball.
Game 2.
Just sit down, shut up.
Exactly. Let's move on.
Let's move on, Domma. All right. Let's get to my boys, the Lakers.
Let's just breeze through this quickly. Game 1 was a non-compete. You smashed them. Let's get into game 2 and game 3 here. Game 2 was very disappointing, in my view, on what I saw the Lakers put together. It's happening again like what happened against Portland. It must happen every second series. So if you win this series, it'll be great in the finals because all your shooters will shoot lights out. But the same thing's happening again. Kuzma can't hit a shot. Danny Green's struggling. KCP's been really good, so I'm not going to knock him.
KCP's good.
He's been good. Just like your elite shooters like Danny Green, if you can get those stats up from game 2, his shooting was a disgrace. It was like 4 from 17 or something. I'm pretty sure off the top of my head.
That's where we no worries, mate. We got you covered here.
But
stat man.
Not for anything. They did well. Like Denver did well to stay with it.
He was 3 from 10 from 3 and 4 of 14 on the night for 11 points. I mean, and a lot of those threes that he had were wide open. Like,
this is the thing. There's the same thing against Portland. Portland, he was wide open. He was missing shots. And this is the thing. You can't go through these slumps. Like, you got to get out of it. The one thing I don't know is, I don't understand is, why is Markieff Morris not playing more minutes to shoot threes, mate? That guy, every time the ball leaves his hand, I'm like, he's going to nail it. He's shooting it at such a high clip from downtown. Game 2, obviously, Anthony Davis, great buzzer beater to steal it, go 2-0 up. LeBron, we needed a magnifying glass to find him in the second half because he went absolutely missing. He shot 20 in the first half and then disappeared. So let's just put it this way. Just tell the listeners and the viewers what you said to me on the last 3 possessions in game 2 before Davis hit that game winner. So Davis obviously hit like 8 points in a row.
It was 6 of 11 going down the stretch, right? It's 3 minutes to go. The bloke doesn't touch the ball. I'm losing my brain. I'm going, every time he's touched the ball, something good has happened. Like, this guy's on tonight. He's on one. Like, he's feeling good, you know. Get him the ball. And we come down. LeBron has a hesitation, pump fakes the guy and shoots 3, airballs it. Rondo misses another 3. But then, you know, we get the ball to AD. He comes down, makes a drive, makes a shot, gets bullied on the other end. Jokic beats him. And then he comes down the other end and shoots the game-winning 3. Like, why he didn't get fed the ball in that last 3 minutes? Go watch the last 3 minutes. He didn't touch the ball, like, until those last bits where he was needed.
Absolute trash. It was literally, and in saying that, you might think, oh yeah, well, Sauce is just talking to Croc here. You know what happened? It followed on into today's game, and they did the exact same thing. Davis wasn't hot. I'm not saying Davis was hot, but the same thing happened. Like we said, Lakers basketball is the run and gun.
Run and gun.
Get out in the fast break. Yeah. The quicker you move your offense, the better it is. I'm calling it now. You know we love LeBron. He's like both of us. He's up there as one of our favorite players. I don't usually knock LeBron, but I'm knocking LeBron. He's got to stop slowing down and running down the shot clock to the last 8 seconds when he's got nothing, like no moves are going to work in that 8 seconds, and then he has to pull up for a hezzy shit mid-range or a 3 and just waste the offensive possession. It is killing the Lakers at the moment. What we saw late in the game today is the same thing that we keep saying about LeBron. If his jumper's on, it's on. But when he's jacking up just absolute trash and missing it, LeBron James is in his 17th year, and his first step is still better than 3/4 of the players in the NBA. He's that quick off the first step to get to the rack. It is ridiculous. When he started being aggressive at the end, instead of pulling up for jumpers and actually driving the ball and kicking it out, look at the offense completely changed. They were down by 18 or 16 or whatever it was, and they got it down to within 6 or within 3. They switched to a zone defense, which, where was that in the third quarter when they were getting pummeled?
Yeah. Look, went through this game today. It was ugly. Like, the Lakers played terrible for 3 quarters. You know, credit to Nuggets because they were able to throw off the offensive rhythm of the Lakers. But one thing I will say is the Lakers, you know, settled for way too many outside shots. You know, that's not our go-to. I mean, you know, we settled for too many outside shots, especially down the stretch there where we got the game close. But the one thing I'm going to say is you can't play 1 quarter of basketball and expect to win a game. Like, you know, giving them a 20-point lead, 4th quarter, into the 4th, and then expecting to run all that down and come back and win it. Like, it's a tough ask. So, I mean, in my opinion, it was lost in the first 3 quarters where we didn't, weren't able to get stops. I mean, I think I looked at our fast break points at halftime. We only had 4 fast break points, something like that at halftime. You know, that's part of our game that credit to the Nuggets were able to shut down today. They defended well. Jeremy Grant, massive. And this is what I say.
He was good.
Role players got to step up. Jeremy Grant stepped up. Monte Morris stepped up, especially in that first half. And they were able to, amount a lead that was insurmountable in the end. So credit to the Nuggets. I mean, Jamal Murray showed that he's able to close out those games, although be it that it was semi-closed out when he hit that 3, in my opinion, and he made it look like he was
it was finished.
It was the nail in the coffin when essentially the nail had already been put in the coffin, if you ask me.
The nail in the coffin in the game was the moment that Kuzma hesitated from 3 and then jacked up the 3 and missed it by a fucking long shot. So
I mean, and there's another point on there. I say to you, if you're going to be on the court, have confidence in your shot. Kuzma, that's a shot you need to take and not hesitate. probably on another day, he takes that shot, doesn't hesitate, he makes it. But you're out there for a reason. You're an NBA player. Like, you know that hesitating like that throws off the rhythm of your shot. And unless you're like Klay Thompson, like,
Correct.
I mean, you're not going to be able to make that shot. That mucks up the rhythm of your shot so much. You know, you're not an elite shooter. You just got to go there, pull the trigger. I mean, look, we still have an opportunity to potentially win the game, but, you know, I didn't say this would be an easy series. I thought potentially we could win it in 5 games. If you know, we won today, I would have been like, oh, you know, we could close this out 4 sweep. But, you know, we're in a series.
We said it could go 6-7. Like,
we're in a series. I think you don't want to give these guys a sniff. The Lakers need to look at themselves today. They need to go back. They need to come out, and they need to come out and play like they did in game 1. And, you know, impose themselves from the start, not allow, obviously, Nuggets to get a lead. And LeBron James got to be better. I think he had 5 turnovers in the first half. That's got to be excusable. You got to be better than that. And, yeah, our role players got to be better. And I think, you know, if Kuzma keeps playing like that, you got to give Markieff Morris more minutes, because I think
I was going to say that at the moment, Frank Vogel, I wouldn't be playing Kuzma. I wouldn't give him any minutes. I said it to you today. He looks absolutely devoid of all confidence, and the fact that he's going out there and every possession he wants to play one-on-one ball against Michael Porter Jr. and just jack up absolute crap. Let's be realistic at the moment. Michael Porter Jr. is destroying Kuzma with his efficiency and effectiveness on the court for Denver than what Kuzma's doing for Lakers. If I'm Kyle, you settle for that shot when you're open. Don't hesitate. You take that shot. Like you said, have confidence, but try and create. But he looks devoid of confidence. His passes are missing the mark. Everything. He's just turning over the ball.
Yeah, there was a few times today, like, he drove the ball and he kicked it out and he's passing it to guys' feet. Like, that mucks up the rhythm of your offense. Guys got to be better. Rondo, I don't know. We can't really ask much more. He came on and really saved the game for us.
Well, that was the last thing I was going to touch on. For anyone out there, we said it last week. We said it 2 weeks ago about playoff Rondo. Whoever keeps coming out and saying he's finished and washed up and this and that, you've got to shut your mouth now. You've got to stop. Rondo in the last series and in this series has had such a major part. He's just so important. He's so important. The Lakers wouldn't even have an opportunity if you didn't get 3 steals in a row at the end of the game, or 3 steals out of 4 possessions, and literally they cut the deficit straight away because of his play on Murray. They suffocated him.
Yeah.
Give him respect. Put it on his name. He's dominating.
Look, I keep saying he proved it. He's proved it so many times that when he comes to playoffs, he just takes it to another level. But, yeah, look, interesting. Let's see. You know, Danny Green, 4 points. That's not going to get you done when he's supposed to be one of the shooters on your team. I mean, he only took 4 shots. What happened? He took 14 last game. We won. He only wants to take 4 today. I mean, you need your shooters to shoot. But, you know, it starts with the top 2 guys. They got to be better. You know, LeBron triple-double, but, you know, 6 turnovers and 5 in the first half. That's what really hurts you. And
as we say, those triple-doubles do not count, unfortunately. Because you lost and you didn't play that well. And the last thing to touch on is you can't have Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, and Anthony Davis combining for 4 rebounds for the whole game.
Yeah. We got beaten on the boards. Like, it's inexcusable when we've got, you know, bigs in there that should be able to rebound. And not for anything, if I see Michael Porter Jr. floating in from the 3-point line and getting offensive boards again, I'm going to lose my brain, man. Like, the amount of times no one puts a body on that guy and he's able to just float in and get offensive boards is a joke. Like, he's got athleticism, but turn around and put a body on him. Don't let him just wander in there from the 3-point line and crash the boards. Like, some of the, you know, the 1%ers weren't executed very well today by the Lakers, and it showed. Nuggets wanted it more. They wanted this game, and it showed. So, I mean, on to the next one. I expect LeBron to be better. We need him to be better, because today he was, even though he had a triple-double, but, you know, it's 6 turnovers, first half not looking after the ball, and down the stretch there where potentially we're the best player in the world, essentially should come out there and get that deficit when it was 4. He actually had a step back mid-range jumper that bounced out that would cut it to 2. He missed it. That annoyed me a little bit that he took that jumper because, he was getting to the rack at will. I don't know why he didn't, try to get there again and at least force the ref to make
Reggie Miller was saying it. He was just like, don't settle. Every time LeBron had it on the 3, he goes, don't settle. And then when he drove in, he's like, that's what we want to see. And then LeBron settles.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. Game 4 coming up on Friday here. Game 4 for Miami, Boston tomorrow. Watch this space.
Tune in, ladies and gents. Tune in.
All right. Coming up next, news around the world. Let's get straight into it. All right. Welcome back. Here we go. News around the world. AFL. Final season is upon us. We're literally just going to run through the results. Saucy will have the ladder up. North versus Eagles. We'll keep that last because I've got a few things to say. Saints versus GWS. Well, the max exodus for GWS looks like it's probably going to happen because they got absolutely slaughtered by the Saints. 52 points from a team that were in the grand final last year, and what they've produced this year has been nothing short of abysmal. So
pathetic.
Disappointing, absolutely disappointing. Bombers got done again to the D's.
Typical.
After that game, D's were relying on Fremantle to beat the Dogs. We'll touch on that when we get to it. Crows, Tigers, no surprises. 44-point win for the Tigers. Lions beat Carlton. If it wasn't for Carlton's accurate kicking, they could have got smashed. They kicked 10 goals, 1 to Brisbane's 11 goals, 12. One thing that we have noticed after these series of buys, Brisbane's actually come back and starting to kick the ball pretty accurately. When they're
something that they got to improve going into finals, and we've been calling it. So maybe they're learning their lesson.
When they've kicked inaccurately, I think they've only kicked inaccurately twice since that buy. One was by 3 behinds, I'm pretty sure. And then this game where they were just by 1 behind. So they kicked 11-12. Apart from that, they're not doing their old-fashioned 7 goals, 16, and they've actually they've tightened it up a bit. That's like you said, good time to get it.
Good timing to get those things going because it's what you need in finals. You need to be able to capitalise on your chances.
Also, big shout out there to Cade Simpson who retired. Wonderful career and wishing all the very best. Hawthorn were able to get the job done against the Suns in what was Paul Puopolo and Ben Stratton's final game. Premiership players and heroes for the club.
Rebuild well and truly on that.
Definitely. The Swans gave the Cats a bit of a scare, but one man, Rodney Patrick Dangerfield, put the team on his shoulders, and I think he kicked 4 in a row for the Cats and really got them straight back into it, and they won that game by 6 points. It was a close one, but the Cats took the chocolates, and that secured them a top 4 spot. Then this was the game that Melbourne was really hoping, and all their finals hopes were dependent on, and the Dockers got beaten by Sauceys Smokey leading into the finals. The Western Bulldogs, who beat them by 5 goals, 30 points. They are looking very, very nice.
They're looking good. They're looking good.
Next weekend. Not this week. We've got the week off, but next weekend. And the final game of the round, the Pies got done by 16 to the Port Adelaide Power. So where's that put us on the ladder, on the standings?
Port Adelaide is top.
Yep.
Followed by Lions at 2nd, Tigers at 3rd, Cats at 4th, Eagles 5th, Saints 6th, Doggies 7th, and the Magpies round out the 8th.
Bang.
Finishing 8th. So going into week one, we've got some big matchups. I mean, obviously the one I'm looking forward to the most is the Power versus the Cats, first versus fourth.
Who are you going for in that, mate? Let's.
Uh,
Do we want to do our tips now? We've got the special pod coming. We'll chuck the tips.
we've got
in
the
there.
special pod coming. We'll release them out then. We'll chuck them in there. So we're going to do a special AFL finals pod. We look at each matchup. We talk about any injuries upcoming. So we'll leave it for that one, and we'll go a bit more in depth into those teams and those matchups. In a pod coming out next week.
So,
yeah.
Like you said, Port Cats, Lions Tigers, Saints Dogs, Eagles Pies. We'll definitely cover those. We'll move on to some other things going on in the AFL. GWS, as I did mention, mass exodus. Williams is gone. Core is gone. Potentially Jeremy Cameron could be traded for. He could be gone. I've heard word that Heath Shaw will also be gone, and potential that there could be a trade for Kelly. I'll tell you what, it's not working. Time to break up the band by the looks of things. It looks like a lot of people are unhappy. Spike McVeigh, who played for Essendon, is an assistant coach down there. I read today that he's actually looking to leave the club as well. So there's a lot of people leaving at the moment.
People are fed up down at the Giants. I mean, there's one man who should be going, and that's the man at the top, Leon Cameron. The bloke should be out the door, and they should be getting a new coach in there to manage that unbelievably talented list that he has not been able to get the most out of in the last, 3 to 4 years where they've been up near the top.
So, yeah, literally
time's enough. You've got the talent there. I don't know how much more longer you need. You've proven that your game plan just doesn't work, hasn't worked. You've failed against the better sides repeatedly.
Potentially could be. I said this in 2017 when Richmond won the flag, and they beat the Crows and they single-handedly destroyed the Adelaide Crows Football Club because they've been a mess. Could the Richmond curse in a grand final have carried on to GWS, mate? They've single-handedly destroyed a football club by the looks of it.
They destroyed them, and then they've had a lackluster season this year.
They're capitulating.
Yep.
It's unbelievable.
Look, I called it, Domma. I said, are some of these top guys really, are they becoming to the point where they're overrated? In my opinion, I think I would have been trying a new coach before you're getting rid of some of these players. But, each to their own. I would be trying a new coach before I start
100%.
getting rid of some of these players. But
5 of those names that I mentioned, you don't want to be losing any of those guys.
We've had a couple of other big delistings from a few other clubs.
Some big ones. Bryce Gibbs retired. Let's have a look here. Ben Silvani delisted from Carlton. I'll get through your boys in a minute. Yeah, Cam McCarthy delisted from Freo. Could get picked up, Cam McCarthy. Sam Jacobs retired from GWS. Great player, great career. Cole Dunkley, Corey Wagner, and Josh Wagner got delisted from Melbourne. Joe Watley delisted from Port. Wiley Buzzer, who came across from Geelong to Port Adelaide, has been delisted. I don't think he played a game for Port. Then your boys. You got to let me know here your thoughts. I'll go through your retirements. Obviously, Connor McKenna, he's gone. Tommy Bellchamber is retiring. Josh Begley delisted. Noah Gown delisted. Don't even know who that guy is. Mitch Hibbard played 4 games for you, delisted. Sean McKernan delisted, and Kobe Much delisted. So I'm about to read the North Melbourne delistings. I know you said it last week. If you keep going on with a list like this, we're going to get nowhere. You've got to swing the axe. You were very frustrated because I sent you the article on North Melbourne and you said, well, that's the right direction. If you can't see the club going the way you want it to go, swing the axe and try and make some moves and some changes to your list. And we did it within one season. Essendon's been having this problem for like 4 to 5 seasons now, and nothing's happening.
I mean, go have a look. No better example than Ken Hinkley and Port Adelaide. They swung the axe. They got rid of some guys that in years gone. They got rid of Wingard. They got rid of Polak. A couple of decent players that you would have thought that potentially were in their best side. He copped some heat for it at the beginning, but now have a look. They've finished on top of the ladder because they've made changes, significant changes. They haven't just cut fringe players. They've cut guys who have had over 50 games, over 100 games, over 150 games. Like they've cut not just fringe guys. They've actually swung the axe. And this is what I said to you, all credit to Reece Shaw and North Melbourne Football Club because they've swung the axe on a couple of guys that I was a bit surprised that they got delisted. But hey,
I was too.
Maybe it's time that something of this drastic nature takes place at the club because the rate you're going at, you're not going to be in. You're not going to be in that contention of top 8 finals and getting to the last day in September where everyone wants to be, which is the main goal.
It's true.
So
and literally with North, I was going to come on. Oh well, I said last week I was going to give him a serve, and I'm like, no, I'll save it for this week. And for the injuries, like I said, I'm not using that as an excuse. We played people. Our system was an absolute mess towards the last 6 games of the season. We averaged literally like 47 points a game putting on the board. That is shocking. We were ranked, I think, 4th for clearances in terms of like stopping clearances in the comp, which was a positive. We're like number 1 in the competition for bloody handballs. Mate, I was saying if we could handball the ball,
you are the master at handballing to guys.
We'd win the flag. If a handball through the sticks, if the handballs through the sticks was worth 6 points, we would win multiple flags. We'd be a dynasty down in North Melbourne. But this is where, like, I know there was a lot of hope in that last game against West Coast because we came out firing. But in saying that, I'm going to have a crack at the club. Well, not the club, at the players in that game. Because all that game showed me, because I'm going to read the delisting list out at North, was literally those players were playing for their spot on the list, if you look at it. That's why they came out fired up. They knew the heat was on them. That's why they tried to perform in the last game. When it was too late, they tried to perform. And I guess what? These are the guys that played in the game that got delisted. Ahern played delisted. Durden played delisted. Murphy played delisted. Marley Williams played delisted. Mason Wood played, and he also got delisted. On top of that, Pittard, who came in with the deal with Pollock from Port, delisted. Jamie McMillan, I don't know. I don't care that he got delisted, but just personally for me, as a North Melbourne supporter, he's meant so much to our football club. I would have preferred him to go out like a Bryce Gibbs, retire, like play your last game, retire, and then just don't play him. Like you could have played him in that last game. You could have retired him, or potentially want to keep on playing. I don't know, but the game's past him. But delisting him was a bit harsh in my opinion. But he's gone. Ben Jacobs, delisted. Joel Crocker, delisted. Magic Door, delisted. And this is the one I was a bit funny about. Lockie Hosey got delisted. He's a young kid. He actually looked pretty promising at times throughout the year. And I'm like, oh, yeah, there's a bit of, he's raw. And I was thinking, as a bit of depth, and you can coach him up and get some experience. He could have been something, in my opinion, but he's delisted. So we swung the axe, 11 gone. Not the end, by all means. In my opinion,
guys out of contract.
Yeah, Ben Brown's going to get traded. So that's 12 gone. In my opinion, Taylor Garner should be delisted. Kane Turner should be delisted. These guys are no good. I'm telling you, we've got a lot of cash to splash this offseason.
North Melbourne always has cash to splash. It's a matter of
whether they come. It's whether they come play for us. We say this every year, but lucky for any North Melbourne supporters out there, whether you hate it or you don't, you listen to a North Melbourne supporter that's a bit realistic in his approach to supporting his football club. The reason they don't play for our club is because a lot of them want the big the big lights, mate. They want to play on the big lights with big crowds. And unfortunately,
Unfortunately,
North
you just
doesn't
can't get
that.
80K
We're a small club. That's why. We're not West Coast and we get 100,000 members sign up a year. We get, mate, COVID happened and we've gone down 13% in our membership. A lot of other clubs went up. So whether they come or not, I know we're going for Williams, Zach Williams from GWS. He wants to go to Carlton. Contract issues are a bit funny there. Adam Saad, the contract negotiation there is a bit funny, but we have to trade for him. I still think it'd be worth trading for Adam Saad, in my opinion. Getting him in, he's a great player. So literally, if Essendon can't lock him down, I'd love to take him off your hands, to be honest. Just partner him up with Luke McDonald, who's come leaps and bounds this year, would be awesome. Like, both halfbackers there on either side, running the ball out of defence would be fantastic stuff. Aiden Core looks like he will sign for North, which is good. And then obviously we've got Ben Brown out there that we're gonna trade off and ship him somewhere. There's a bit of interest from Collingwood. What happens there, I don't know. North Melbourne's history, obviously, with our draft picks is poor, so I don't know if we trade him for a player and picks. I'm not confident on picks.
You want to trade him for Joe Danaher?
No, he's gone to Brisbane, I heard today. I was reading some articles. Why Brisbane want him? Well, I don't reckon Joe Danaher's that bad, to be honest.
Look, he's a good player.
I reckon he didn't get a fair go, to be honest. I don't know what's happened down at Essendon because of his contracts and this and that and all that crap that happened last season or the season before when he was injured and talking to other clubs, and it put a sour taste in people's mouths around the Essendon Football Club, in my opinion, and that really put him on the blacklist down there.
Yeah, it did. Look, a lot of supporters are upset. Obviously, his dad and his uncle,
the connection
being great with the club. We want him to stay at the club, but it's a tough one.
Yeah,
it's a tough one. It's a tough one. But on the note that you mentioned, Tom Bell Chambers retired. There's one thing that albeit I jumped on his back, Bell Chambers. I'm like, we can't keep playing him. We can't keep playing him, right? Like he's just past his best. Look, he's been a serviceable player,
No,
his time's finished, right?
Yeah.
One thing I will say that's actually pissed me off in that sense: give the bloke a retiring game. Like in all the games he could have played, it was the last game because we were out of finals contention. So why not play the guy, give him his final game, cheer him off, right? But yet we don't play him. But yet we play him during the middle of the season when we actually had a chance to make finals, and he lost us games. The coaching at Essendon is a joke. Like, what is their logic? Who cares? Give the guy a game. Like,
I agree.
We weren't going to make anything.
They did it for Gibbs.
Ridiculous. Just ridiculous, man. Like, so many things done at the Essendon Football Club at this current point in time that it just baffles me. And I have no confidence in our club that we are going to move in the right direction next year. I mean, we haven't shown that we're going to improve. Are our guys in the midfield going to improve their kicking over the off season? Well, they haven't for the last 2 off seasons, and that's got us. Is our forward pressure going to improve? Well, it hasn't the last 2-3 years, and look where it's got us.
I'll tell you, like those things, I understand. Like Worsfold will probably go and Rudden will take the job, yeah. But this is not. That's the issue at the forefront of the Essendon Football Club. I think the issue of attracting players to go play for you down there at the moment is the way management go about things. And as a football club, if you're on the outside looking in as another supporter, just not the Essendon supporters, because like you said, most of them have resigned to the fact that what the hell is going on at this football club. But just looking in as a North Melbourne supporter myself and looking at the way that Essendon personnel conduct themselves, they're aloof, arrogant. Like, for what? You're achieving nothing. We keep saying this every week in different sports. When you achieve jack shit, you have no right to act the way that you act.
Yep.
Show some professionalism. If you're John Worsfold, stop ducking questions. Matthew Lloyd, which I love, mate. He's one of my top favourite players ever. Matthew Lloyd. And I go for North, and I'm not a big fan of Essendon, and I love Matty Lloyd. And he gave Essendon a serve because no one else was keen to do it. He's a legend of the club, not a legend of the club. And he's like, this is my club, mate. I love this club. He gave him a serve. John Worsfold bit back and he avoided the question. He had this answer of like, if that's the way Matthew feels. What are you talking about the way Matthew feels? It's how every
Essendon supporter
Matthew
feels.
Was talking about, yes, correct. He was talking about the Essendon community and the way they feel about the football club. He knows. Mate,
anyway, I'm glad to see the back of Worsfold. I thank you for his time. Yeah. He took us out of the shit when no one else wanted to. But enough is enough.
Get Herd back.
Get out the door. Get out the door. Bring back Dank. Bring back Herd. Jab him up. Jab him up.
Get back Jobe Watson.
Get back Jab Watson and let's make it happen.
He could do some bloody. He can set up his barista stall at the club and bloody sell some coffees.
Oh man. Oh,
let's go. Look,
it's a shambles, man. It's a shambles. And look, I don't know what to expect. Let's see what this off-season holds for us. I mean, once again, we're continuing with guys that, I don't know, we haven't gotten this anywhere. We haven't made any harsh calls. All the guys that they've delisted arguably probably deserve to get delisted. I mean, maybe Kobe Much could have got a bit more of a go, but like the other guys I agree with, they're pretty much spuds. Yeah. And let's see what happens. Let's see if Joey Danaher says it's going to be a tough off season for the Essendon Football Club in a sense that I don't know. I don't even think we can attract players now because
we'll see what happens, mate. We'll watch this space. And we'll let everyone know when things come to light. Hopefully there's a light at the end of the tunnel for the Essendon Football Club. We'll just have to wait and see. Coming up next, just a bit of a Formula One update going into this weekend. All right, welcome back. Formula One, just a bit of an update. We've got the Russian GP in Sochi this weekend on Sunday, 27th of September. Could be anyone's race. As we look at every race on a weekly basis, we just pencil in Lewis Hamilton at number one and the rest will just go from there. So, but yeah, just wanted to give that update. Just a quick one, brief on Formula One.
What did I see this week? Your boy Lando. He's
voted the best young driver in Formula One. Yeah.
Here we go.
When I jump on someone's bandwagon source, it's for no reason. Like I've got reason behind everything I do. So, good old Lando, he's a gun. The surprising thing I will touch on, now that you spoke about Lando, about like up and comers, I was just thinking about next season. I don't know if I mentioned last week that Vettel signed for Aston Martin F1, which is going to be Racing Points. So Racing Points becoming Aston Martin F1. I expect Lance Stroll to take the second seat. The interesting news, which came out during the week, there's just rumors. But Sergio Perez, who's going to lose that seat, potentially might take Alex Albon's seat at Red Bull and race with Max Verstappen next year. So that potentially could be a nice combination down there at Red Bull. So we'll just wait and watch this space there as well. We'll see what happens. But that's all I got for you, Saucy, this week. Nice and quick, nice and easy, and we'll get it going into the UFC coming up next. All right, Saucy. It was a massive card in UFC last week, and we pumped it up, and it didn't disappoint.
Oh, there was some good fights. Don't get me wrong, Domma.
My goodness, have we got a ripper this weekend?
We've got a great card, and we'll go over it shortly, but we'll do the usual. We'll go over the card that went past, the big fight night between Colby Covington and Tyron Woodley. So, first of all, let's grab the card over here. As usual, go through the main card. Kevin Holland, middleweight division, getting the win over Darren Stewart. Third round, took to decision. The judges gave it to Holland. Women's strawweight, division. Mackenzie Dern, Rando Marcos, Mackenzie Dern getting the win, submission, first round. Light heavyweight, Johnny Walker versus Ryan Spann. KO by Johnny Walker in the first round. Let me just tell you, the fight went for a total of about 3 minutes. That was one of the most entertaining 3 minutes I've ever watched. Anyone who hasn't seen that fight, go watch it because I'll explain it shortly. Let's just keep going through the results. You got Khamzat Kiamev with the knockout in a lazy 17 seconds against Gerald Merskrat. Anyone who hasn't seen this, let me just say, is one of the greatest right hands I've ever seen. Straight down the barrel, timed it impeccably, clobbered him on the chin, right hand, good night, one punch, see you later, knocked the bloke out. That's in the middleweight division. Welterweight, Donald Cerrone, Nico Price, draw, went to 3 rounds. Judges gave it a draw. Dana White, sort of interesting after the fight. After the fights, in an interview, said he's going to have to speak to Cerrone and see where his career is at and see if he wants to keep fighting. I mean, this could be the beginning of the end of big old Donald Cerrone.
Well, he said he was going to. I saw the post match, and he did say he's going to take some time off. He's got some family stuff going on, and he just wants to spend some time with them. So, yeah, like you said, could be the beginning of the end of what is a great career, to be honest.
It's been a great career. He's been a journeyman. I mean, the bloke has he's had over 50 bouts, which is to step in that octagon 50 plus times. It's unbelievable effort. Let me just tell you. I mean, he's got 36 wins, so it's not like he's got a winning record. He's 15 losses, but he's been around there. A lot of those losses have come. Many of those come recently, so as he's getting on in age. And then we had the main events, welterweight division. You had Colby Covington, Tyron Woodley. I mean, these blokes have been drawing back and forth for years now, and they haven't been able to organise a fight. So finally, Dana White gave us the fight that we wanted to see, and Colby Covington. Let me just tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the bloke put on an absolute clinic through 5 rounds. When I mean clinic, ladies and gents, I'll come back to it because I'll talk about the Johnny Walker and Ryan Spann fight just quickly. Greatest 3 minutes, as I was speaking before, you got to watch. In that fight, like Johnny Walker's known for his amazing knockouts, and going into this fight, he lost 2 of his last 3, I think, and people were sort of seeing where he's at. I mean, in this fight, the bloke was on the ropes. Ryan Spann had actually dropped Johnny Walker, had him on top, thought he assumed the ground and pound to finish the fight. Somehow Johnny Walker got out of it, got to his feet, and not for anything, one of the most crazy comebacks you'll see. You thought Johnny Walker was down and out. He turns around and knocks the bloke out. I think he was able to get him with on the way through. He was able to get him with a knee, I believe. Wow. And then as he was coming forward, was able to get him with a knee, and then was able to finish the fight with ground and pound, where the other guy ended up on all fours, just covering his head. And when you're not fighting back or showing not defending yourself properly, the referee has to call the fight. So amazing stuff. Like, I mean, I'm just watching the replay here. Literally crazy stuff. Just dropped him. Johnny Walker gets up, and as the other bloke's coming forward, Johnny Walker hits him with a right hand, and the other guy falls down. And then he finishes him. Unbelievable stuff. Just crazy, man. Honestly, just crazy. But we'll go on to the Colby Covington and Tyron Woodley fight. As I said, absolute domination by Colby Covington. Let's just put it into perspective for the ladies and gentlemen listening out there. Colby Covington, total strikes landed 232. On the other hand, Tyron Woodley, 67. The bloke has more than 3 times his total strikes, just about. He's put on an absolute clinic. Took him down 3 times. Assumed control on the ground for 12 minutes of the bout. Just shows that he was on top. It broke the guy's rib, popped his rib in the end. And there was points in the fight where Covington was kicking him in the ribs, and you got Woodley tapping his ribs like, it doesn't hurt. Well, obviously it did hurt, mate, because you've ended with a broken rib, and you come out after the fight saying it is the most pain you've ever felt in your whole life. So Covington has put you to sleep, buddy, and this jawing back and forth that's been happening over the last few years has been put to bed. Woodley dominated. Absolutely.
Well, he's got his sights on Kamaru Usman, because I don't know if you saw that post fight there. Kamaru Usman was there. Did they go at each other? It was quite entertaining. It was very funny. Very, very funny.
Kamaru Snoozman, as the people out there like to call him, because he's one of the most boring fighters you ever watch. But he's effective.
We'll see what happens.
Look, I'm not going to mention it because there's political agendas in the whole sort of retrospective thing, and we don't talk about politics on this show, Domma, as you know. But anyone out there, go see the post game, the post fight interviews. They're hilarious. Just great viewing. Domma, you called it.
This week. I'm excited. This one.
Huge card coming up.
This is big.
Huge card. UFC 253 headline with the middleweight division title bout. Israel Adesanya at 19-0 up against the man, the mountain, Paulo Costa with a 13-0 record. So you got 2 blokes undefeated. 2
undefeated fighters.
This is what we want to see. This is the stuff that we dream about when we talk about UFC and MMA. It's going to be an unbelievable card, let me tell you, because there's a couple of other great fights on here. You've got the featherweight division, Hakeem Dawodu versus Zorobia Turakov. You got the women bantamweight, Caitlin Vieira, Sarah Eubanks. You got the flyweight division, Kai Kara France versus Brandon Royval. You got the light heavyweight. This will be a great bout. Dominic Reyes versus Juan Blazquez. Anyway, we'll give that a pass. And obviously the main event, Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa. Tune in this Sunday. Main card, I believe, starts at 12 p.m. Local time for us Australians, Eastern time. It's a big one. It is a big one. And usually I don't watch it live, but this is definitely a fight that I will be tuning in to watch live. I like to just watch replays in my own time, but this is a great bout. And I'm excited because there's been a lot of trash talk between Paulo Costa and Israel Adesanya. And I'll be interested to see if anyone can get near Adesanya, because he's just shown that he's too fleet of foot for anyone in that division. And Paulo Costa does not look like he should be fighting in the middleweight division. Let's just be honest. The bloke is a man mountain. He's a giant. And let me just tell you, look, Izzy's going to have to watch out for those bombs that he throws, because the man has power. So I think he's going to use his speed. He's going to use his agility. He's going to skip around the ring, use his kickboxing and his length, because he's got a bit of reach on Paulo Costa. And just try work the points. I don't think you'll be able to get the finish. I think this goes to 5 rounds, and Israel Adesanya puts in more work over the 5 and just shows the judges that he's the champ, and he gets it in a decision. But once again, it's MMA.
Massive card.
So
massive card.
That rounds us up, Domma, and we're moving on.
Moving on. Next up, Premier League. Stay tuned. All right, mate. What are we? Week 2 done in the Premier League? We're flying here. Mate, we're already into week 3 in the Premier League. This is huge. Oh, my boys were disappointed again, which is fantastic. So, I did call it last week, but we'll get into that when we get to it. We'll run through the games as we usually do. Then look at this week's games, give our predictions, and we'll see what happens. But Liverpool versus Chelsea, the heavyweight battle. Wow. Liverpool look fantastic. 2-0 win. First goal by Mane was fantastic. Second goal was literally a giveaway by the goalkeeper for Chelsea. He just kicked it straight to Mane.
So he's had the worst $80 million that the Chelsea Football Club has spent on
potentially
Kepa.
could be. Yeah, it could be for Kepa. But you know what? Lampard did say after it, Lampard called him out. He said he knows what he's done wrong. He knows what he has to do to get better, and let's move forward from here and build on it. But the eyes were all on Thiago Alcantara, who came from Barcelona, and he did not disappoint. He monstered that game.
He completed more passes in that second half, in that 45 minutes, than the whole Chelsea team combined.
Yeah, he monstered it. He was ginormous. He couldn't be stopped. So Liverpool extend their season to a 2-0 start. Next up, we've got Wolves v City, 1-3. Man City took the chocolates. I tell you what, there was glimpses in that game that I thought Man City was playing against Lyon in the Champions League, because Wolves squandered that many chances to steal it, exactly like that Lyon game in the Champions League, where City was all over them and they just fell asleep in the second half. And they almost pounced, but unlike Lyon, who made the most of their chances, Wolves wasted them. But I tell you what, golden opportunities missed by Podence and Jimenez in the second half. That was the difference.
The moments in those games, and when you're a lower side coming up against those bigger teams, you've got to be able to take your chances to give yourself any chance.
You really do. You really do.
I mean,
that was just disappointing. Really disappointing.
Another interesting game. Leicester City over Burnley, massive scoreline, 4-2. I mean, I think this is signs of things to come. We know how Brendan Rodgers is taking over there at Leicester City. He plays an attacking style.
Definitely does.
And moves the ball quickly. I mean, it's going to be they'll be a team to watch. I mean, I think they've got potential. Leicester. Let's hope they can have another run this season and push for those top 4 spots and those obviously Europa League and put some pressure on some of those top teams, and let's have another one up there.
I don't know if you saw in that game, Dennis Praet's goal for Leicester was goal of the week, mate. Hands down goal of the week. He was Mickey Mouse. He a nice finish there. Let's get back onto him again, because they didn't get bought out over the summer. They lost the first game, and Newcastle got touched up at home to Brighton 3-0. Very disappointing. Very, very disappointing. I didn't even write notes on the game. They were just, very underwhelming.
Look,
I'll tell you what, and I'm not actually happy, because Newcastle have just given Brighton some confidence leading into Man United this week. So who knows?
Who knows what's going to happen? Let's talk about your boys, Domma. What's happened? What has happened? That's a game. Like I said, like I was saying, Domma, this is where you have to come out. You got to win your first 5 games, because if you drop points, the likes of City, the likes of Liverpool, they're not going to drop points these first 5-6 games, and you're going to be behind the 8 ball if you want to have any chance of winning the league.
We were slow. Solskjaer came out and said it. We just moved the ball so slowly. Van der Beek came out and said it as well. His face said it all on the bench when we were down 3-1. Wow. Van der Beek did score his debut goal for United in what was a goal that any one of us out there would have kicked, because the ball literally fell onto his lap and he just extended his foot and it went in. So besides that, we didn't look good at all. One thing, though, Wilfred Zaha is an absolute beast for Crystal
He was
Palace.
at Manchester United at one point in time, I believe.
Don't remind me. Do not remind me. I did say it last week. I said that it would either be a draw or it could be a potential a loss to Crystal Palace, as they do match up really well against us in the last few seasons.
Yep.
And I wasn't confident going into the game last week, and rightly so. I don't know where our football from the end of last season, where we fought to get that Champions League spot, which was literally like 1 month ago, to now, what's happened, to be honest. It's been terrible. But not looking forward to this week. We have to travel to Brighton. So I've got no confidence in United at the moment. We've had all this time. We've wasted our summer. Everyone's signing people around us, and we're just sitting there comfortable. And I don't know. We let Reguilon go to Tottenham, which we should have signed. He would have been a great prospect for us. I don't know. Just squandering opportunities. Hopefully Bruno Fernandes gets in that change room and he gives him a rev up, because he hates losing that guy. And I love that. It's the mentality of a guy that I love.
That's what you need.
He's by far our best player anyway. So, yeah.
Leeds, our second team, Domma, they got their first win back in the top flight, 4-3 over Fulham. I mean, look, ladies and gents, I'm just going to say, just watch Leeds game, because coming up from the Championship, the quality of football that they put out, and and they haven't changed, because if you watch them last season, they played this brand of football in the Championship, and they've come up and they've played the same brand of football. I mean, they took it up to Liverpool last week, 4-3 to Fulham. I mean, that scoreline's a bit flattering. They allowed Fulham to get back in the game late. Could have been, potentially 4-1 or even, 4-2 and not 4-3. They're just good to watch. They're just good to watch. I'm telling you, they're going to cause some upsets this season. And, I think they're going to be one of those Smokies that you want to be watching for, and one of those teams that you want to be putting in your multis to boost the odds, because they've
100%
got the potential to cause some upsets.
We spoke about I like Bamford. I like him. I like the look of him. He could be my boy. I couldn't label him as one of my boys, mate, in the Premier League. I like him.
Once they get their signing dues, I can't remember who they signed.
No,
he'll be sitting on the bench, mate.
No, he's not going anywhere.
Bamford's not proven at the top level. He's played at the top level, but look, he might have improved.
Hey, listen here, mate. When you score, assist, and win a penalty for your team in a game, you're keeping your spot. He's my boy, Bamford. Get him at United. I want him at United. He's great. Well, here's an interesting stat for Fulham fans out there that you probably don't want to hear. You've conceded 7 goals in 150 minutes of football. So congratulations. You're doing really, really well. So work it out. Divide 150 by 7, and that'll tell you how well you're going at goals per minute. Your boys against West Ham, 2-1. Good win.
Look, by all means, good to get the win. Not convincing. No, I mean, first half, we could have potentially been down in that first half. We got a goal. Antonio got a goal back, which, was a bit disappointing and just before halftime. But Eddie Nketiah, Leeds had him last season in the Championship until we called him back. The guy just comes on and scores. He just gets in the right spot, and this is what we need. And I hope that Lacazette stays at the club, because he is a needed player. I think he's in our best 11.
Scored his 50th goal for the club.
Yeah,
scored his 50th. That's fantastic. That's a guy you want to keep, mate. A guy that scores goals is a guy that you want.
But one thing I will say about it, and is our defense has looked better. And sometimes when you're not having your best game and you're not stringing the passes together as you would like, you need to rely on your defense to sort of keep you in the game. Because you've got the quality up there to create the chances. It just wasn't all working for us. We stayed in the game. Lucky enough to take the chances that we were given. West Ham on the other chance didn't take the chances. But yeah, look, good, happy to get the win,
Good
but
win.
not convincing.
You take that. Yeah, I know.
As I said, we'll see where we're at when we come up against Liverpool. I think we've got them in not in this game coming up, but the next game, I believe. I'm just looking at the fixture.
It is it's this week.
Oh, it's this week. Here we go.
Yeah, it is this week.
No, yeah, we got them this week. Yeah, so yeah. We're playing in the Cardio Cup, which should rest a few of our players, and then we're coming up against Liverpool. So let's see where we are at. Coming up against Liverpool, there's also word that Lucas Torreira apparently wants out of Arsenal, I believe. I don't know why Arteta doesn't see him in our squad. Obviously, doesn't like him. He was brought in there from by Emre. Arteta must not like him in a sense, but I thought he was a needed player. He battles hard. He reminds me a bit of like a Arturo Vidal sort of player where he's just short and stubby and stocky and puts in the hard yards, puts in tackles. I'll be disappointed to see him go, to be honest. I'll be disappointed to see him go because if I was to say, do I want him or El Neni in that role when they're rotating through? Obviously, for some reason, he still likes Xhaka. I don't like Xhaka at all. I actually don't think he should be playing in our best 11, but the coach likes him there. Look, he has been improving, but we'll see how he goes. And I'll be watching him closely, as I always do, because he seems to make fuck-ups right at key times and in the wrong games where you can't afford to fuck up. So we'll see what happens. What happens.
Villa beat Sheffield United 1-0. Nothing much happened in that. Everton versus West Brom. James Rodriguez was Mickey Mouse in this game. Dominic Calvert-Lewin scored his first hat-trick for Everton. After West Brom did score the first goal, I tell you what, they look good. There was a red on Gibbs, got him down to 10. Then at halftime, their coach went to complain. He also got red carded and was sitting in the sideline. So 5-2 in that game. They were great in the second half, Everton. And the last game was an absolute clinic. Southampton versus Tottenham, 2-5. Tottenham won away. First two goals were disallowed by Kane and Danny Ings. VAR disallowed both. It was 1-1 at the half, and Kane had 4 assists and a goal in the game. He set up Son 4 times.
I watched that game, Domma, and let me tell you, the connection between Son and Harry Kane was unbelievable. It was one pass, Harry Kane got the ball. He turned and played the ball, but he didn't even look to see if there was a player there. And let behold, there's Son on the other end of the ball,
quick,
running one-on-one with the keeper. And you can go back and watch the replay. You look at Kane. He didn't even look up to see if anyone was there. He just played it. He got the ball and played it. It's just
his goals
connection.
They were good.
It was great to watch. It was great to watch. I mean, they could have had more goals too. Son squandered 1 or 2. So, yeah.
It was a great game.
It was a good game to watch. And, good for Tottenham. Let's hope that's a sign of things to come for that Tottenham and Mourinho side. I mean, we know Mourinho in the past is very, very defense-oriented, doesn't like to play beautiful football, and, his sides aren't renowned for scoring goals. So let's hope this is something that he's realised he needs to change in his tactics.
Oh, definitely.
And they're games where those games against those teams, they're games that Tottenham's got way more quality than the other side, and they should be able to put that many goals on them. Let's hope they bring some of that, nice play that they were able to string together when they come up against the big clubs and not just park the bus a la Mourinho style, which he usually does against the bigger clubs.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we'll see what happens. And going into this week, these are the matches we've got installed. Brighton versus Man United, Crystal Palace versus Everton, which will be a nice one. West Brom versus Chelsea. Expect Chelsea to bounce back in that one. Burnley versus Southampton. Sheffield United versus Leeds. So potentially Leeds could get 2 on the trot here. Spurs versus Newcastle. Spurs should really punish Newcastle. City versus Leicester, which is an awesome game. West Ham versus Wolves. Fulham versus Villa. And the big game of the round is Liverpool versus Arsenal on Tuesday morning.
3-1 Liverpool.
5:15. So we'll see what happens. Just some quick transfer news. We've actually got some stuff. Arturo Vidal to Inter Milan during the week. And Luis Suarez gone just down the road to Atletico Madrid. We thought he was going to go to Juventus. Some stuff happened there. Couldn't pass the test, couldn't get the visa, and now he's just made the move to Atletico, which is not a bad move for them. So good stuff.
Very good move. Very good
All
move,
right.
ask me.
Coming up next, we've got a lot to get through again, mate. We love this now. We love having it on the card, NFL. So stay tuned. All right, Saucy. Like we said, we love having this on the card now. We love talking NFL. It is great. We're getting right into it. We love it. We'll run through the games and give our thoughts on it, and then we'll cover next week. And then, of course, you're up and about. You nailed them this week. But we'll definitely start Bengals versus Browns. We watched this game. Joe Burrow has been stiff not to be 2-0.
Oh, man, the guy can play. And if that
play?
Bengals defense was half competent and weren't just absolutely trash.
Just penalty kings, mate.
Oh.
Every 2 seconds is a flag.
They suck so bad, that defense.
They were down. They came straight back into this game. And
Joe Burrow.
Just think about it. Yeah, you just got to think about it like what Burrow has offensively. Like he's got Green, AJ Green. He's a gun. Don't get me wrong. What's his name? Joe Mixon. He's a good player as well. But the disparity between the defense and the offenses between Cleveland and Cincinnati is a joke. Yeah. If Joe Burrow was throwing the ball to bloody Odell Beckham and he had Nick Chubb rushing for him, he probably wins that game by 2 TDs, potentially.
Yeah.
That's how
I'm
good
telling you, he was good in that game. The fact that the coaches down there and the organisation are just going, Joe Burrow, in your second NFL game, we want you to throw it 61 times. The bloke threw the ball 61 times in his second NFL game. Like usually, as an organisation, as a franchise, you're protecting your quarterback. You know, you're protecting your rookie quarterback. You're putting more run plays in there. You're probably not giving him the full playbook. But I mean, they've released him down there at the Bengals, and they've gone. We've got a guy who can actually play, potentially our next franchise quarterback here. We're going to put it on his shoulders, and not for anything, the bloke nearly led him back to a comeback. I mean,
it was fantastic.
It was great to watch. Got us the cover, Domma, because I had the +6 there on the Bengals, so it was a good way to start the week on Thursday night football.
He had a 90.6 quarterback rating. That's pretty good.
I mean, that's pretty good because considering he threw it 60 times. You know?
Baker on the other side, he threw 3 TDs, no picks, which is great. It's awesome.
Look, Baker was good, but I think he looks better than what he is because that Bengals defense sucks. Honestly, they really suck. They're so bad. I was watching them. I mean, and not for anything, even some of the guys on the offensive side of the ball, his offensive linemen, they can't protect him. I mean, anyone who watched that game seen that ridiculous where he tried to call a timeout and the guy hiked the ball and threw it over his head and he had to run back and they had to take a loss of like 15 yards and then they had to punt it. And that ended up turning into a touchdown, which essentially lost them the game. Like calling timeout, there's literally 5,000 fans in the game, so there's no excuse for noise. And his offensive lineman, I think his center hikes the ball. Absolute lemon. It was literally at that point I was like, cue Benny Hill music, and
it literally was.
It was a Benny Hill moment. And there was so many in that game. There was so many Benny Hill moments. I was just like, it was just comical. It was comical.
It was terrible. Next up, we did have the Giants versus Chicago. Obviously, the big story that came out of this game is Saquon Barkley did his ACL. Tragic for the kid. His goal for this season was literally to be the best running back in the game, and he started the game so well. He had 4 carries for 28 yards. He was averaging 7 yards a rush. Unfortunately, his day was cut short, and his season is done. You messaged me, Saucy, on this one. Your great views on the great man for Chicago at the quarterback position, Mitchell Trubisky. Just you got to start Foles. I'm sorry, Trubisky. He's no good.
No, don't start Foles because who they got this week? They got the Seahawks. No? Anyway, I want Trubisky to start because he sucks, right?
We got him to cover. Yeah, we got him in the bets this week. So tell me.
I think so.
Bears?
So
Yeah.
I mean,
look, I'm trying to see who they got. They stink. They are so bad.
Yeah.
The Bears are so bad. Do they have the bye this week? I know teams have a bye. Who are they playing?
The Bears, they won 17-13. But
they got Atlanta this week.
Here we go. That's right. They got Atlanta, which I haven't put them in the bets, but could be. So he's thrown for 18 of 28, a QBR of 52.4, 2 interceptions, sacked 4 times. I mean, if they were playing anyone other than the Giants, they'd probably lose that game. Their defense keeps them in it, and just because Daniel Jones is probably just as incompetent as Trubisky to a point.
Correct.
Correct. And you can nearly say if Barkley doesn't get injured, and the way he was going, he's probably going to have a 100-yard game. I mean, yeah, they would have won that game.
Oh, yeah, so definitely.
Yeah, it's a tough one. But I have no faith. Like, the Bears' defense is good, but Trubisky is so average, and that offense is so average that I have no confidence in them that they could put up winning scores, even though their defense could potentially hold them in games. The fact that they can only put up 17 points on that Giants team is an absolute disgrace. So
yeah, I agree. Next up, we had the choke. They're just choking.
What do you call it? Hey, your boy Dak. Your big boy, your boy Dak.
I was gonna say he's nailed number 1 of 4 that I said that he was gonna have over 325 yards. He had 450, so that's 1. I'm marking it 1. There you go. He's got 3 left. Let's see if he can get there.
Hey, look,
he did throw for 1 TD, but
credit to them. Credit where credit's due. I mean, look, anyone who hasn't seen the end of that game, they did the onside kick. Atlanta Falcons, the whole defense or that whole receiving team on that onside kick had an absolute brain fart moment. Like, when an onside kick happens, Domma, the receiving team can touch the ball before it travels 10 yards, right? They are allowed to. But the kicking team, in this case the Dallas Cowboys, are not allowed to touch the ball until it travels 10 yards. So the fact that Atlanta allowed the ball to go 10 yards and then tried to touch it meant that actually gave Dallas a chance to get the ball. Instead of just getting it, when it was at 8 yards or 6 yards and trying to get it then. That's when they should have grabbed the ball, but they let it bounce to the 10-yard line, and then Dallas got it back. And, well, we know what happened then because they lost the game. So
they struggled.
Honestly, but one thing I will say is
my boy there.
They're able to put up points, Atlanta Falcons. Their defense sucks. Right?
Calvin Ridley's great.
They're able to put up points. Cowboys, 40 points by then. That's a pretty high score for the Cowboys.
Just look at the receiving, mate. Look who led their receiving. If you're into your NFL cards, this is a bit of a rookie you should be collecting as a receiver. CeeDee Lamb.
Your boy, you did talk about him. You did tell me. You did mention it to me.
CD Lamb.
Well, after he's gone for 106 yards, would not be the time to pick him up. Let's just wait till he has a down week.
Yeah.
And Dak can't hit him for the life of him, and
exactly.
His card will go down a little bit. That's when you want to pick him up.
But yeah, they look good. They came back, and that's good for Dallas. They extend to 2-0, which is good for them.
I mean, you know, our we both picked Eagles to win that division, and that's not coming along too well with the way that they're playing.
Start with that. Terrible.
With the way that they're playing. I mean, affected by injuries.
Yeah. Next up is your mate, Aaron Rodgers, against the Detroit Lions.
Absolute clinic. I took them 2%, -6. Was so confident with the Packers. I mean, I think Lions, they're going to struggle this season. Let's be honest. I mean, even with Matthew Stafford, I think he's shown he's not really he's a good quarterback. He's above average, but he's not. He's no Russell Wilson or Rodgers that can single-handedly win your games. So, yeah. Look,
struggle town.
What happened is what I expected to happen, pretty much. They ended up losing by 21 points, which is an absolute shellacking. 3 touchdowns.
They got smashed. Next up was the Jacksonville Jaguars, who came out flying in week 1. They almost stole this from the Tennessee Titans, who now extend their streak to 2-0, their record. The difference could have been in this. Minshew's 2 interceptions, which hurt them. Tannehill went 18 for 24, 4 TDs. Derrick Henry's a beast. Code for 84 yards. So anything really could have been anyone's game, this one. Jacksonville were actually putting in some effort here. I thought they were tanking.
Mate, that's what I thought. I thought Jacksonville, either the Jacksonville Jaguars are the smartest franchise in NFL, or they are just fluking this completely. Because I thought they've traded out all their best players to tank for Taylor Lawrence, but here they are showing a fair show for themselves, being able to get the win in week 1, obviously over the Colts, my boys, and take it down to the wire and potentially nearly stealing it down the end. 13-3 in the last quarter, so they nearly got the game back. And Gardner Minshew, not for anything, even though maybe he doesn't throw those 2 picks, the game looks better for him. But I mean, he looks like more than a serviceable quarterback.
Yeah. Could be better than what they had a few seasons ago in Bortles. So
I mean,
could work for them.
Interesting. The Jags are going to be, I don't know, maybe I might have to look at them a bit differently, especially in my betting approach, where you might be able to get some nice points on them going forward. So, I mean, I'll keep an eye out. Tennessee Titans, get the job done. Tannehill, clinical, 18 for 24, QBR of 90, which is pretty good. 3 for 4 TDs, which is can't ask much more than that, if you're asking me. And yeah, they were just they just got out to too much of a lead going into that 4th. And
definitely.
Jacksonville just couldn't chase it down. I mean, you wouldn't want to allow that to happen when you're versing a better quarterback like Russell Wilson or
exactly. Well, in saying that, like speaking about your betting as well, like your boys you backed in last week, the Colts actually came out and played some football this week. But guess what? We had the battle of some of the greatest QBR ratings in the history of the sport here. So Phillip Rivers went 19 to 25 here, 214 yards, 1 TD, 1 pick, had a QBR of 36.4. But the great man, Kirk Cousins, for Minnesota, went 11 to 26.
You like that? You like that?
You like that? Three interceptions with a QBR of 9.4. You like that?
My God. How do you, as an NFL quarterback, go for a QBR of 9.4? How much is this guy getting paid?
I've got nothing. Yeah, he's getting a good contract. I've got nothing else to say. I'm moving on from this game, and that's it. That's all I'm saying.
Look, the
Minnesota
Colts got the
are
job
0-2.
done. Let's just leave it at that. I mean,
That's
what does it say about the Vikings? Where are they at? Kirk Cousins at the helm. I don't think they're going to be very good this season.
No.
Not very good at all.
Next up, my boys, Dolphins, 0-2. They lost. So the Bills came out. Josh Allen's looking pretty good. Threw for 4 TDs. Great pickup, like we said, Stephon Diggs. Oh, mate.
Anyone who hasn't seen that stiff arm, Josh Allen,
Mate,
we're gonna find out who the guy is stiff arm because that bloke, you should just take off your jersey and your boots and hang him up, mate. Because there's no way you should be allowing Josh Allen to absolutely.
He's a big boy, but you shouldn't be letting quarterbacks.
There's no way you should be getting hit stick from freaking Josh Allen. Letting Josh Allen stiff arm you run through you like that. Come on.
It was massive. It was massive for them. Good win. It's a divisional win as well. Stephon Diggs, off 8 receptions, had 153 receiving yards, which is ginormous. Had a TD, which is great. Bit of light there for Miami. Mike Gesicki had 8 receptions for 130 yards, had a TD. So something there. Fitzmagic was just consistent as he always is, but Miami's just waiting till December. Like my boy Colin said, that's when Tua will probably start. So Bills won that one. Next up was actually the most interesting game, in my opinion, and probably the saddest game for my preseason predictions, as the San Francisco 49ers beat the New York Jets 31-13. But in the midst of it, they lost Jimmy Garoppolo for 4 to 6 weeks. Raheem Mostert, their running back, their leading running back. And, of course, Nick Bosa, their best defensive player with an ACL. Huge. Absolutely huge. Nick Mullins looks like he's going to take over for the next 6 weeks. He did well in his short time. He went 8 for 11 and threw a pick. So looking all right. It's looking all right. Let's just put it this way. Garoppolo had a QBR of 99.5 before he got injured in that game. He was dominating. And Raheem Mostert had 8 carries for 92 yards, averaging 11.5 yards a run. So not good to lose them, and obviously not good at all to lose Bosa. What can I say? They're shambles. The Jets... Darnold in that system looks like he's making no progression, which is sad for the young quarterback. But looks like Jets are going to stink it up again. Now let's move on. Rams Eagles. Give him your take, mate. Philly. They're great at the moment. They're looking fantastic.
You know, Philly at the moment. Anyone just type in Philadelphia Eagles injury list and just look at that list. They've got a lot of injuries, and this is why. You know, going into this game, I couldn't believe that the Rams were only 1-point favorites. Pulled the trigger. Obviously, Domma took the Rams -1, 3%. You know, biggest bet of the week. And let's just say, ladies and gentlemen, did I nail that to a T? Because they absolutely slapped them, covered that 1 point by an absolute length. And the Rams look good. The Rams looks good. I mean, they're going in this week. I think they're the favourites again. We'll talk about these upcoming games coming up. But, I mean, Eagles, I think we'll see what happens. I think they need to try get the win this week. I think this is a must-win against a Bengals side that's also 0-2. If they somehow lose to Joe Burrow and the Bengals, it's season over. I'm calling it for Philly, and it's Dallas's. It's Dallas's.
Yeah, it probably is. As much as they're struggling at the moment, like Philly, as we mentioned, with the defense that Cincinnati have, you can't lose to that team.
Yeah,
Burrow offense while their receivers is what is literally keeping them in the game. But we'll see what happens. It's sad, you know, like great talent like Carson Wentz. He struggled in this game, by the way. He absolutely struggled, but I don't know. It is sad. He had his opportunity. He has won a Super Bowl, but obviously he wasn't the starting QB in that Super Bowl as he did get injured. So he hasn't had the best of luck, and hopefully the Philly Eagles can get back on track for our divisional predictions in the preseason.
I mean, Rams, on the other hand, 2-0. So, I mean, good start to the season. They're looking good. Jared Goff, clinical, 20 of 27, 267 yards, 3 TDs.
They
were clinical.
McVay's quality as a coach. So, I reckon they'll be back up there. They just had an off-season last year off that Super Bowl hangover. But I expect them to bounce back. So, next up, we had the Broncos against the Steelers. Steelers extended to 2-0 record. Broncos 0-2. We thought Drew Lock was really going to take the majority of the snaps, and they've gone with Driscoll. Another guy to look out for, which I was all over as well, Jerry Jeudy in the sports trading card market. These are the guys. We said offensive guys for NFL. These are the guys. Jerry Jeudy, your CD Lamb, your Henry Ruggs. If you haven't got a Josh Jacobs.
Let's have a look at Jerry Jeudy, because Adam Lefkoe, very high on Jerry Jeudy. Loves him. Yeah. Reckon he's underrated.
He's a gun. So those are the guys. Like, outside of the QBs, you should be looking at your Ruggs, your Judys, and your CD Lambs. They're the guys you should be doubling down on, I reckon. Get as many as you can, because offensive guys are going to take off, especially if Jerry Jeudy plays like this again. He had 62 yards, but off 4 reception, he averaged 15.5 yards a reception. So it's pretty good for him in his second game.
I mean, not for anything in that game. The Denver Broncos, pretty good on third down, 5 of 15. So, not too bad at all. In retrospect, the Steelers, 2 of 12 on third down. So their efficiency wasn't that good. But the problem was Steelers averaged 6.5 yards a play, which is absolutely elite. Absolutely elite, which means that they are, probably weren't in that many third down positions in the first place if you're averaging 6.4 yards a play. So, yeah, look, still probably not sold on Pittsburgh, but I think, as long as Roethlisberger can stay fit, they are within a chance in that division, and potentially getting a playoff spot. So, I mean, interesting one. We'll talk about their upcoming opponent.
Yeah. Next up, we have Carolina versus Tampa Bay. Another terrible game for myself. Another one of my favorite players, and Christian McCaffrey. He got injured, so a lot of stars were just dropping like flies in week 2.
I mean, I spoke about it in our first NFL segment on the pod, Domma. When they had the whole revelation around the concussions in the NFL. They studied over a 4-year period. Obviously looking to see how many head hits and all that sort of things come out of games over a 4-year period. One notable stat that did come up was, out of all of those games, out of a 4-year period, there were only 1% of games where a player did not get injured. So injuries are a huge, huge, huge part of the NFL, and they can severely hurt your team, especially if they're to some key guys, mainly the quarterback, but also then your number one running backs, your offensive linemen are super, super important, and then your wide receivers are important as well. But it's a tough sport, man. It's a tough sport.
Yeah, it definitely is. And Brady,
it's definitely thrown a few spanner into works with my bets
this week.
It
definitely has. Brady got his first win in his new colours as well.
I mean, nothing to brag about over Panthers. They should win that game.
Yeah. Next up, nothing to really cover in this. Kyler Murray was great again. They extend to 2-0. Arizona looking to be very good. DeAndre Hopkins was a great pickup. He's playing so well. Larry Fitzgerald, Larry Legend there. He's playing really, really well.
Hall of Famer, future.
I got nothing to say about Washington, to be honest, when Dwayne Haskins has a QBR of 13.4, so good on him.
He beat Kirk Cousins. You like that?
Like that. Next up was Chiefs versus Chargers. What a game this was. It came down to a kick at the end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Mahomes, 302 yards, 27 to 47, 2 TDs. But another guy that in the card market to be looking at as well, Justin Herbert for the Los Angeles Chargers, 22 of 33, 1 TD, 1 pick, QBR of 75.9. He played really, really well. Austin Eckler was great with his rushing. Keenan Allen on the reception with Hunter Henry and Austin Eckler as well. It's just Mahomes, they got it down there at the end. They're able to kick the field goal to snatch the victory. I think it went to OT, I'm pretty sure. It was in OT. Tyreek Hill played really well. Same with Travis Kelce. So no surprises there. Great teams. They find ways to win. Next up, some of these games is not even – this game's not even worth covering, to be honest. The Ravens versus the Texans. We said it last week. Texans don't look very good at all. And the Ravens, as you know
another one of my bets that I had in there, -7.
The best team in football beat Houston 33 to 16. Now we'll get into the last two games, which were really interesting. Patriots versus Seahawks came down to literally the final play. Literally the final play, last snap. Cam Newton tried to rush it in, got stopped by the Seattle defense, but Russell Wilson, 5 TDs, 1 interception, threw for 288 yards.
This guy doesn't get an MVP vote this year, the way he's going.
Well, he's leading at the moment, in my opinion. But Cam Newton, he's been good at New England, honestly, in the first 2 weeks. He's looked really good in the system.
I just, guys, all the people out there want to doubt the guy. Like, the guy, he won an MVP for a reason. And there's no, obviously he's bought into the culture down there at New England. It's a very different culture where it's, Belichick's way or the highway. And it seems to be working for him. He's putting games together. Don't count New England out. As I said, I've actually picked them to win their division. And I said if there was one coach that could, make it happen, it would be Belichick. He is the best coach to ever coach in the NFL, potentially.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah. And the last game we had was the Raiders versus New Orleans. Raiders
disappointing. Raiders and Derek Carr looking like, let's just say the word around Derek Carr in the card market is when you got Vegas Dave. If you don't know who Vegas Dave is, ladies and gentlemen, he's the bloke who earlier this year sold a Mike Trout rookie card for I can't remember exactly. Something ridiculous.
$2 million.
$2.2 million or something like that. Mike Trout rookie auto card. He sold it for that, which he famously bought for. About $400,000. Not that long ago. Probably a year ago or 2 years ago. His next big, investment guy is Derek Carr. So he's been pumping Derek Carr in the card market, and you got a lot of detractors out there drilling him, saying, Derek Carr's overrated. He's no Mike Trout in that sense when you're talking about elite players in sport.
Definitely not, but he's a good player. Derek Carr's
but he's a decent, he's a serviceable quarterback. 28 of 38 completions, average of 7.43 TDs, no interceptions, what you want to see. QBR 77.1. He outplayed Breeze severely. Not for anything, the New Orleans Saints struggled. Definitely struggled.
It was a struggle.
Moving the ball. Their defense has got to be better, giving up 10 of 17 third down attempts for Oakland. So that's where you need to make your stops. You've pretty much allowed them to go at what's that, about 60% on third down conversions, which is, you do that in any game of NFL, you're going to have a very, very good chance of winning the game because it means you're able to get the extra downs. So,
they're looking good.
Disappointing for the Saints.
Promising.
Disappointing for the Saints, but let's see if they could bounce back this week.
Definitely. All right, let's get into week 3. We'll run through the games, and then you give us your picks, mate. We've got Dolphins at Jags, Texans at Steelers, Bengals at Eagles, 49ers at Giants, Raiders at Patriots, Titans at Vikings, Washington at Browns, Rams at Bills, Bears at Falcons, Panthers at Chargers, Jets at Colts, Cowboys at Seahawks, Buccaneers at Broncos, Lions at Cardinals, Packers at Saints, and the big one, Chiefs at Ravens on Tuesday. That is game of the week. Let's go.
Game of the week, most definitely. All right, Domma. Bets last week fired, absolutely fired off. 4
from 4.
4 from 4. That's what we want to see. Happy about it. Guns blazing, but the work isn't done because I had a look at the card this week, and let me tell you, it's a lot harder. Like last week, I just looked at these games and I was like, "Yep, I'm betting that." This week
has been hard.
This week's been harder. I'm annoyed with myself because when the lines first released, Atlanta Falcons were -3. They got smashed. They were -3.5. Now they've been smashed even more by the punters. They're -4. So I've stayed away from that, but could be a late bet depending on how I feel. Potentially might throw another multi together because I think there's a few favourites out there that maybe not confident taking the points, but confident in them getting the win. So we might be putting a few of those together and having another multi-play coming out later this week. I'll keep you posted. But
very nice.
The bets that I currently got at this current point in time are the Arizona Cardinals -6 over the Detroit Lions. This line started at -6.5, got bet into -6. So obviously there must have been a bit of steam there for the Lions. I mean, what I've seen from Matthew Stafford gives me no confidence that he's going to be able to outplay Kyler Murray on his home field. I mean, I have been seeing that they've been slowly getting more and more fans into games. So there is a little bit of a home atmosphere going on. Obviously not as much as what they're used to. But I think the Cardinals are too good, and I can see them winning this by a touchdown. So we'll take the points with the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray. Next bet, we are going to, this one's going to absolutely stump a few people, but we're going to lay the points. We're going to lay the points. Don't ask me why. I've just got a gut feeling, and I'm going to go with my gut because it's what I did last week, and it served me well. We're going to lay the points with the New York Jets over the San Francisco 49ers. +4. So for anyone out there who doesn't realize what that means that the Giants can lose by up to 4 points, and we still win. So, if they lose by 5, we're stuffed. So we're gonna take him off the premise. Obviously, Bosa out. You've got Sherman injured there on the defensive side of the ball, and Bosa. Yeah. You've also got
Mostert gone.
Jimmy G done.
Jimmy G.
Which is the big one. And for anyone out there who doesn't know who's going to be stepping up from quarterback, well, there's a guy by the name of Nick Mullins. And, well, yeah, after he stepped up, he barely done enough for them to get the win in their game. And if anything to go by, last year when he was on the New York Jets, he played one game where he played a full game. He went 27 of 39, threw for 1 TD and 2 interceptions with a QBR, which that would be a shocking QBR. Would probably be around about the 50 mark. I haven't looked into it exactly. But, if that's anything to go by, there's a good chance that Daniel Jones and the Giants could potentially cause an upset. So I'm happy to lay the points. Next bet is a bit of a different one, but Cincinnati Bengals versus Philadelphia Eagles over 46.5 points. Basically on the premise of what I seen last week, both the Eagles and the Bengals definitely can't defend. But the Bengals can score, show that they can put up points. I mean, they put up points against a mediocre offense, a mediocre defense in the Browns. Well, let me just tell you, if anyone, as I said, go have a look at the Eagles' injuries. A lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball, and that has showed in the first two games where they've given up over 25 points. So, I mean, I think I see both teams scoring around that 25. That will bring us to 50 points. And I think we're able to get the cover. The only thing that might hurt us, Domma, is I had a look. There could be some sort of thunderstorms in Philly, which could hurt us. But did have a look. Chance of rain is only 40%. And the wind gusts only 10 to 15 miles an hour, which isn't really too bad. So that's probably the only issue we're going to have. That's that one. Last and final bet. I could be adding another bet later this week, so we'll see. All these will once again be posted on Instagram, so you can find them there. If you missed them on our story, you can also catch them in the highlight on our page that states NFL bets. So you can see them there. Last bet. It's going to be a multi. We're going to chuck in. We're going to alter the line on the Seahawks. So I think the line's at -4. We're going to alter that line to 2.5.
Bang.
So the line's actually extended. I believe it was maybe -4, open to -4, and now it's gone to 5. So I mean, it was 4.5, and now it's gone to 5. So I mean, there must be some steam on the Seahawks. People must like the punters, must like them. But we're going to alter that line to -2.5, so for them to win by a field goal or more, and we're going to take that into the Steelers beating the Texans. We've spoken about the Texans earlier. They're no good. Steelers are at home. I think they've got too much firepower. Texans defense isn't as good as what it was in previous seasons. Obviously, they've traded away Jadeveon Clowney, who was another defensive beast on that side of the ball, and they don't seem to look like they have improved. So I can see Steelers definitely winning this. And we're going to multi those two up. That's going to get us odds of 2.38. And all of those bets, we're taking 1% of bankroll. Yeah, there it is, Domma. Another bet maybe potentially coming later this week. We'll see how we go.
Right,
we're going to go with those.
Thanks for that, mate. Very nice. We've got our bets in, like Saucy said, on our Insta story, if you have missed them. And always remember, gamble responsibly. Very nice.
Thank you, Domma. Good stuff. Gamble responsibly, ladies and gents.
Coming up next, Hobby Talks back. Got a bit to talk about. All right. Hobby Talks back. I hope you enjoyed it last week, ladies and gents. If you haven't caught it, we might link it in the description, but we had a special pod with Charlie from Cherry Collectibles. That was the Hobby Talk for last week, which gives a great insight into different aspects of the sport trading card hobby and things that are happening in the market. So if you haven't heard it, get onto that. But today we want to talk about a few things. We'll start it off. We mentioned it in that special pod, but we'll put it in here as well. It's a good time to really get into basketball cards. The focus has shifted onto football now, and also focused onto current players playing in the playoffs. So those guys outside of it. Sauce mentioned it last week in his Smokey. Jaren Jackson Jr. starting to go down. It's a good time to buy these guys if you want to get in the market. You know what I mean? Like, it's a great opportunity. You're not buying them at their highest point. They're really just starting to drop. So you're not going to get them at their lowest point either, but you can get them in that in-between spot now. And we reckon it's a really, really good time to jump on board and secure some of your favorite players, which you thought that may not have been attainable a month or two ago when
Yep.
the
Most definitely is, Domma. It's obviously with the NFL season starting, a lot of the hype, a lot of the attention on the NFL, and we've seen a dip in a lot of basketball cards across the board. I mean, even dips in guys that are currently still playing in the playoffs. So it's been a true hit. I think, obviously we're seeing uptakes where, where Anthony Davis hit a game-winning shot. Obviously, his card spiked. And a few anomalies like that where you've got some guys going up. There are certain cards which are still remaining around that price. And it's all going to depend in the NBA who wins the championship, and those main guys, key guys from that team are going to spike. But definitely a good time to get in buying basketball. I mean, the height of the market was probably about 2-3 weeks ago. So you were selling around then, you were selling up around the height of the market and capitalizing and, doing what you're trying to do when you're buying and selling cards, which is sell at highs, buy at lows, and then sell those again at highs. Right now, I'm not saying we're at a low, but we are definitely at a point where some of these cards are getting to prices that I am super, super comfortable with buying. And you're getting cards that, PSA 10s that were essentially $100 more expensive 2 weeks ago. You're getting $100 off. I mean, even some PSA 9s. I talked about my boy Jaren Jackson. I actually picked one up today, a Jaren Jackson rookie mosaic PSA 9 for $32 US. So, I mean, we'll take that every day of the week. So yeah, the guys are on the move. Use cardladder.com. Can't stress this enough because it will give you an idea and look at some of the guys that you might be looking at. Obviously looking at guys that I spoke about with Jaren Jackson, where I can see him potentially winning most improved player, and then that's going to obviously jump those card prices next season. Potentially look for guys that could be like a Devontae Graham of this season, where he averaged something like 5 points in his first year, and then he comes out in his second year and then jumps to like averaging 18.5 points. That's the sort of jump that you want to see in current day guys to capitalize on selling, buying those guys now, and then them going on a run, them stringing a bunch of games together where they score 20 plus points, and then selling at that point where there's so much hysteria around this guy in the market. So it's a great time, Domma. It's a great time to get in on basketball cards. I sort of didn't want to. I wanted to slow down my buying, but with the way that the market's gone, I just had to buy more.
And it's also a good opportunity with that happening, where if you're kind of like us, where we like to buy pretty much two of the same card, if it's a guy we like, so we can keep one in the PC and one we can flip, you practically could get some of those cards for the price of one of what it was worth 2-3 weeks ago. It's like, I can buy two of them now. I can keep one and then hold one. So for when next season starts, if the guy plays well, I can flip it, make all that money back, or with a bit more on top, which is good. Which is that's why it's a good time to get into it. And we'll move from that into one of the biggest stories that actually happened this week. You can give the backstory behind this as well. But a Giannis rookie logo man, 1 of 1, sold for $1.8 million USD. Do you want to give the listeners and the viewers a bit of a background on this story?
Ladies and gentlemen, look, I'll first off say, Domma, this is unprecedented times for the sports card hobby in a whole. We've had now in this calendar year multiple cards, I think 3 or 4 cards going over $1.5 million in sale, which is massive stuff. Just massive stuff. It's showing you the amazing interest and the eyes that this hobby is getting at the moment. I mean, you got guys like Adam Lefko, who's on TNT, bringing on prison cards onto the TNT cast, onto the set, showing them off on national TV. But, good stuff. What I will say is, ladies and gentlemen, this next part you're about to hear, don't be this guy. Don't be this guy. So it was posted on Blowout Forums. Anyone who's not aware of Blowout Forums, essentially Blowout Forums is like the startup of sports cards forums in a sense where, it was probably like one of the first or one of the first initial places where you could buy and sell cards other than eBay, and have a community with one another, each other, talk about cards. I mean, it's been around since before Facebook, before Instagram. It's like the infancy of card collectors, right? Any true card collectors on Blowout Forums. So in 2014, 2017, I think it was 2017. I can't remember exactly.
No,
but
14.
14, right?
It was 14. I think it was 14.
Anyway.
He's been in the league for more than 3 years. So
we'll get it up.
I think it's 14.
Well, we can't get it up. Anyway, I think it was 2014.
I'll fact check it. You go on.
Fact check it. I think it's 2014. This bloke posted on Blowout Forums. He bought this logo Rookie Man from a guy. $7,000 he paid for it. He got the card. It had a little yellow mark on it. So he decided he didn't want the card. So he thought he would return it. Well, ladies and gents, he is kicking himself right now because that same card that he returned, someone else was lucky enough to gobble that up and sold it just this week for $1.82 million. And that's a percentage increase of about 25,000% profit.
That's ridiculous.
Let me just say that again, ladies and gentlemen. 25,000% profit. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
Get into it. Tell him. Get into the returns. Go on. You baited yourself. Get in there.
Look.
Go.
I don't understand some people with the whole returns. Like, I don't understand why you return a 1 of 1. At the end of the day, you're buying a 1 of 1. Doesn't matter the defect on the card. There's still only one of that card in the whole world. Like, just think about that. We've seen some of the cards that come out of Panini. They come out of the box like that, some of them. So the fact that that could have been the case with this, and that guy then just returned it, you're a lemon, mate. You're a lemon. You're going to have so many sleepless nights knowing that you returned this card back. You're going to have so many sleepless nights. Like, essentially, that could have changed your life, man. That could have changed your life selling that card for $1.8.
I'm just looking at this card as well. Yeah, it fetched 1.81 million, and it was a BGS 9. Can you imagine if that was a BGS 10?
Oh my god, if that was a BGS 10, they would have gone for $3.5 million.
Oh,
seriously.
And the rest,
right?
What about BGS?
Look, one thing I'd look. I've seen some people going like, well, I don't get it. How does Giannis go for 1.8 million? It's not how does Giannis go for 1.8 million. It's just it's the time we're in the hobby where you've got all these cards going for crazy amounts. I mean, LeBron's one. People are saying like LeBron's, we get it. But Giannis, like, how does he go for that much? I don't know. Mate, look, the verdict's still not out on Giannis. We spoke about it, Domma. The guy is still only 25. Multiple greats of the game never won their first championships until they were later in their years. But once again, it all comes around whether he can develop a mid-range jumper like we've been talking about, Domma. And that will
get Chris Paul, and he won't have to do anything. So
that will catapult his game to the next level. Well, this talk, that's could happen. But On the returns front, I mean, especially
I
in the
think that
case
card was 2014, by the way.
2014. So on the returns front, don't be that guy. You know, if it's graded, it's graded. That's the grade. I mean, if there is a little defect on the card, so be it. It's still been verified and graded by one of the grading companies.
If your card's getting graded out there, ladies and gentlemen, at 10, and you buy the card and it's graded at 10, and you receive the card that has been graded a 10, and you see that there's a mark on the card that has been graded a 10, don't ask for a return and say there's a mark on there and, you know, it's not worth the money, because your beef shouldn't be with the seller. The seller is selling the card for what it actually is, because the grading company's gone out there and said, yeah, this is a PSA 10 or a BGS 10. So the seller is going to sell the card as a 10.
Yeah.
They're not going to sell a BGS 10 and go, BGS 10, mark on card. I think it should be a BGS 9.5. Why the hell would you do that?
No one in their right mind would do that, Domma. No one in their
People
right
do
mind.
that now. People list their card. They go BGS 10, but probably BGS 9.5 because there's a mark on it. You don't have to specify that to anyone. I'm sorry. If there's a defect on the card, you don't have to specify that at all in your description.
There's a defect on the slab, yes.
Yes.
But not on the card. Because, you know, you're relying on these grading companies. You're paying them top dollar to do their job. You're relying that they're going to do their job. So, in my view, I'm of the point, you take it off face value of what it's been graded. I mean...
Yeah, and don't go out there. Don't go out there if you're one of those people and the card is a 9 or a 9.5 or a 10. It's mainly a 10, and there's that mark on a card, and then you just go in and...
Well, look, if there's a mark on the card and it's a 9, you can understand. It's got a 9 for a reason.
But if it's on a 10, don't lose your marbles at the seller and be like, oh, you've rorted me. He's rorted no one. He sold you a 10. It's not his fault that the grading company graded a 10 with a mark on the card.
I mean,
He didn't sit in the... Let's just put it this way, mate. If I sent my card in and had a defect and I was like, nah, you'd probably get like a 9 and it came back as a 10, you'd be like, well, yeah, I'm selling this card now. This is clearly like a 9, but they're giving me a 10. Are you stupid?
Yeah. No, I'm with you,
Do not blame sellers for that. Unless the seller, like Saucy's saying, there's a defect on the slabs and stuff like that. All right, go to town. Get your return. That if they haven't specified that.
You know? Crack on the slab, multiple scratches.
You can lose it on that stuff. Do what you want. But if it's on the card and it's been graded a 10, well...
Just take it as face value.
As we say...
Graded a 10, it's a 10.
As we say in Australia, mate, suck eggs, mate. If you buy a 10 and it's got a mark on it, don't blame the seller. You just suck eggs, mate. You paid for it. Don't expect a return. It just makes no sense.
We want to live and die by these grading companies, Domma. And the thing is, no one in their right mind is looking at that 10 when they've got it back from PSA or BGS, and they're going, oh, there's a mark on this. I better send it back to PSA or BGS and tell them to grade it a 9 instead. I'll send it back. I'll do the right thing. I'll send it back.
No one will do that. No one will do that.
But on the flip side, everyone's sending back their 9s to try and get 10s.
Yeah. Correct.
So just take the 10 when you give it 1.
I don't get it. That's why, like you just said, Sauce, we'll wrap it up on this. You can't always expect so much from someone when you live and die by the grading company.
Yeah.
As simple as that. If you live and die by it, what you get is what you get in the score. Whatever's on the card, you deal with it. That's it. So,
on that note, Domma,
let's move on, mate. Let's get into it. I called it Sauceys Collectibles last week. It's not Sauceys Collectibles. All right. Stay tuned. Next up, the most anticipated segment of the podcast, Sauceys Smokey. All right. Let's go. Sauceys Smokey. Back again. You've got an absolute ripper. When you told me about this before the show, I was very excited. So get straight into it.
Killer, Domma. Absolute
Drop your
peddler.
stats. Drop it all. You know you love your facts before you present it. Let's go.
So, yeah, this card here, we're going to say this card, and everyone would be happy to have this card, like, regardless. Yeah, like, the guy that you're buying.
He's a spud. He's a
Well,
lemon.
He's, let's just say, ladies and gentlemen, he's revered by many. He's
The greatest lemon of all time.
He is in talks to be the greatest on the planet in his said sport. We're going to run off a few numbers for you guys. So we'll obviously talk about the population reports. We're just going to delve into the PSA pop reports. So there's a total of 1,062 graded. In that, there's 626 PSA 10s. So I think that's about a gem rate of 58% along those lines. So it's okay. It's pretty good. I mean, it's pretty good for a card this old. That the gem rate's that high. It's probably got to do with the borders, considering they're all white, both sides, front and back, which definitely helps. We're just going to mention the reason why I'm talking about this card is, first of all, the guy you're buying is there's no better guy to buy in the hobby than this guy. Literally, there's no better. There's going to be an upcoming documentary next year, which we've seen with the Last Dance this year. What can happen when a documentary series is dropped? The hysteria around it and the prices and price hikes on some of those cards were crazy. So I could see something very, very, very similar happening again. And third of all, it's just a nice looking card here. In my opinion, one of the better cards out of that time and that era of this amazing team that we're going to talk about. So the card that we're talking about, or the set that we're talking about, is the 1991 Skybox set. In particular, the USA Dream Team out of that set. Barcelona Dream Team. That is what I'm talking about. There's going to be a documentary about that, the Barcelona Dream Team. And the bloke I'm telling you to buy is none other than the greatest basketball player to ever walk the planet Earth, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Card 534 out of that set. I'll bring it up on the screen for you right now. That's the card, ladies and gentlemen. That's the card. I like this card because, I mean, the pop reports on it aren't too high. So, I mean, there's under 1,000 tens. There's only 1,000 graded. Gem rate, I mean, it's pretty easy. There's still probably some out there that are going to get graded. But also, ladies and gents, the card is super, super affordable at a PSA 10. Getting a PSA 10 of a GOAT, of the GOAT, in his USA uniform, Dream Team, documentary coming out next year. This is all going to lead on. Now, this card, essentially, if you don't want to sell it, because I always try to give you a card that I think is undervalued and at some point it's going to have a price hike where you can flip that card if you're not in love with it and then use that money to reinvest in other cards that you do like. That's the whole aim of Sauceys Smokey. But if you are left with this card in your collection, ladies and gents, come on. It's Michael Jeffrey Jordan, the greatest basketball player to ever walk the planet. It's not a bad one to be left in your collection. And I'll be trying to buy up another one just to actually. me personally, I'm actually trying to create the whole set of that USA set and get them all graded PSA. That's my goal. But I'm going to give you Michael Jordan as the card because I was able to pick one up for 80 USD. I think there has been a recent few sold around about 70, 75. You could have got them a month or two ago. I mean, they were around about 50, 55. There's some still up on offers for best offer on eBay. So my suggestion was do not buy the buy no price. Offer them 70 to 80. Most likely they will take it. And get yourself the PSA 10. If you do not want to get a PSA 10, by all means, get yourself a PSA 9. You can if you like. I just think this is one card that you should just get the PSA 10. And that's just because you got to remember that obviously this era was the junk wax era. So who knows how many of these cards are floating around. And if a date gets named for this, a lot of people will be sending in a lot more Dream Team cards. And USA cards. So these pop records could rise or they could not rise. So I just thought while the 10 is at what I think is a reasonable price, once you take into the whole transferring of currency and everything, I think it was about 130 Australian. So I mean, I think under 150 you're getting a PSA 10 of the GOAT. So ladies and gents,
is rookie?
No, it's not a rookie.
USA, no, a rookie USA card. It's
not his rookie USA card. I'm not sure if there was another card previously, before that. But the reason why I've chosen this card is because if you go have a look at some of the other USA cards, in my opinion, this is the most aesthetically pleasing. So that's the reason why I've chosen this card.
Nice cards,
because it looks good. I like how it's got the American flag in the back of it. And beautiful. I just think it's the most aesthetically pleasing. I mean, there's a few other ones out there, but I like this one the best. I could be wrong in a sense that maybe it isn't, but personally, to me, I like this one. So I'm going to go with this. The pop reports aren't that high. Can pick it up for a super reasonable price, and you're buying the GOAT. So
that's it.
Sauceys Smokey for another week, and I think this one's absolutely fire because come the Dream Team documentary, this shit's gonna pop off, man. This shit is literally gonna be popping off, and I've been buying off Dream Team guys, so for this particular reason.
Good call. There you go. Another edition of Sauceys Smokey right there. There you go, ladies and gents. Got through another pod. It's been great. Good stuff again, Saucy. We've got some big stuff to look forward to in the next week, and we look forward to bringing some more sports news and trading card news in the weeks to come. We may have another special pod for a hobby talk coming up much sooner rather than we thought, which is awesome. So remember, keep living, loving, breathing sport. This is Double Coverage. It's been your boy Dom with the great man Saucy. Peace out.
Peace out.
Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcasting app. Also, if you could please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, that would be awesome. Don't forget to follow us on socials at DBLcoverage_ on both Instagram and Twitter to join in with your opinions.